the Cleveland Browns have named their starting quarterback for the 2026 NFL season. When we open things up on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 1, your Cleveland Browns starting quarterback will be Deshaun Watson. Yep, you heard me correctly. When we open things up on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville, Florida, our starting quarterback is going to be Deshaun Watson. And I have to be frank with you here for a second. From the very beginning of training camp, I never believed this was a legit competition for the starting quarterback job between Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. I always thought it was going to be Deshaun Watson. Not because he's a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. We saw clear-cut evidence on Saturday against the Buffalo Bills that is not the case. The reason Deshaun Watson is our starting quarterback is because of that stupid trade we made when we gave the Houston Texans all those draft picks, which allowed them to become the team that they are right now. That's how they got C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson and a lot of their other pieces. And we gave Deshaun Watson a 5-year, fully guaranteed $230 million contract. And since he's come to Cleveland, he hasn't been able to stay on the field, whether it was because of his 11-game suspension or because of injuries. And when he has been on the field, our offense has not functioned properly. When Shedeur Sanders was on the field on Saturday against the Buffalo Bills, we were moving the ball. And we were actually throwing the ball down the field. Sure, Shedeur didn't always complete the passes, but at least we were willing to try and push the ball down the field and, try and move the ball and look like a properly functioning offense. When Deshaun came in the second half, I didn't see any of that. It seemed like we went very conservative and didn't try to push the ball down the field. And he got rained on with boos. And it wasn't even a fully packed stadium on Saturday against the Buffalo Bills. Couldn't you imagine what it's going to be like if Deshaun Watson is still our starting quarterback when we have our home opener against the Carolina Panthers in week 3? That environment is going to be at least 100 times more hostile than what he experienced on Saturday against the Buffalo Bills in preseason action. And he talks about, I was gone for basically 2 years and I've gone out into the community and all this and that. And yet fans still booed me. Well, guess what? You haven't given us any reason to cheer you. When he was our starting quarterback out on the field, at no point did I go, yeah, that's my starting quarterback. Deshaun Watson is my guy. Not once. Not one time did I say that. So, what? I don't get it. I truly don't get it. Like I said, when Shedeur Sanders was in there, we were actually moving the ball. We scored a touchdown. And it felt like we actually had a legit chance. I'm going to be frank here. If Shedeur Sanders was named our starting quarterback, I felt like the Browns have enough offensively and still have a very solid defense, even though we traded Myles Garrett, that we could go 7-10. I don't think that's crazy, but only if Shedeur was our starting quarterback. But obviously, that's not the case. Deshaun is our starting quarterback. As such, I think we're going 5-12, but more likely than not 3-14. And in his post-game press conference following Saturday's loss to the Buffalo Bills, Deshaun talked about the relationship with the fans. And, well, just listen for yourself.
I don't know. I mean, the only time I feel that energy is when I'm in the stadium or it's on social media. Like I mentioned before, when I'm in public, no one's mentioned anything. So I think that's the only time those people that's holding it in is trying to disrupt the energy. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a social media, players can't respond back, and in the stadium, players can't respond back. So I get it. I understand it. So it is what it is.
Say two more. Quarterback job is tough enough. Can you defeat that negativity?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a mental battle every day. You know, I feel like I get more love on road games than I do home games. So if it is my spot and he does make me the name, maybe it's 17 away games. Then I don't know. I don't know.
The fact that you guys do have your first two are on the road, your first 6 of 9 are on the road. If you win the job, might that work in your favor?
Again, I'm not sure. I don't know. I thought being away for 2 years and working myself back from 2 Achilles injuries and putting the time in and, being around the facility, being around the city, doing charity work in the city, supporting the Cleveland Browns, hanging out with fans whenever I do see them, being honest, being, the type of person I know I am and the character would help. And I guess it haven't. So that's why I say it's personal. So, it is what it is. People have their own opinions. I can't do, there's only so much you can do to change that. So at the end of the day, I just have to continue to just work on it and strive to be better mentally moving forward. I mean, I didn't have no reaction. I think the biggest thing is, I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows. It has nothing to do about the performance. It's a little bit personal than that. So I think it's a disrespectful thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep whatever I feel with me and my family internally on how I feel about that. And yeah, just move on.
But don't you think, Deshaun, that winning and playing better would eliminate some of that booing?
Last time I played on this field, I tore my Achilles. And that same fan base, they cheered when I got hurt. So does that have to do with, what does that have to do with anything about performance? When a person get hurt, especially for your own city, and they cheer.
Does any of that make you regret coming here?
Nah, I don't regret anything in my life. I think the Lord put me through situations for a reason. So I don't regret anything at all. But, I had different thoughts on how it was going to be. But, it is what it is. Sometimes, the tables turn. And I'm patient enough because I'm a child of God to, wait for that time to change. So I'm not tripping on it.
I do believe a major reason why Deshaun Watson was named our starting quarterback today is because we opened the season with back-to-back road games against the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which that game against Tampa Bay is going to be fascinating because it will be Baker Mayfield's second time playing against us. We also faced him in week 1 of the 2022 season when he was the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, and Jacoby Brissett was our starting quarterback because, again, Deshaun Watson was serving an 11-game suspension. I'm a little surprised that Browns at Buccaneers is a straight up 1 o'clock game. I thought it would be maybe Sunday night football or Monday night football, but whatever. And not just that, but 6 of our first 9 games to open the season are on the road. Week 1 at Jacksonville, week 2 at Tampa Bay, week 5 at the Jets, week 7 at Tennessee, week 8 at Pittsburgh, and week 9 at New Orleans. our only home games in that stretch are week 3 against the Carolina Panthers, week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and week 6 against the Baltimore Ravens. And then we have a home game again, week 10 against the Houston Texans. It's weird how our schedule got aligned this season, but I believe that's a huge reason why Deshaun Watson got named our starting quarterback. Todd Monken, our head coach, can say that Deshaun's post-game press conference comments, as you just heard, weren't taken into consideration. But guess what? I don't believe that. I believe they were taken into consideration, and yet, despite the clear toxic relationship between this fan base and our now starting quarterback, it didn't change a damn thing. Deshaun Watson is still our starting quarterback. And I don't get it. Why are we not giving Shedeur a fair chance? I would love to see Shedeur Sanders in there as our starting quarterback. If Shedeur was our starting quarterback, I think by the time we face Baltimore in week 6, I think we could have been 3-2, maybe even 4-1. I'm being honest. But now that Deshaun is our starting quarterback, by the time we play the Ravens in week 6, I think we'll be maybe 1-4, maybe 0-5. I don't know. But that's truly what I believe. I do. If Shedeur was our starting quarterback, I feel like we could go 7-10 this season. I like Quinshon Judkins as our running back. Dylan Sampson as our backup running back. You got Jerry Jeudy, if he can get back to, being a true, legit wide receiver. Denzel Boston was a great pick in the second round. I like Casey Concepcion. You got Harold Fannin. On defense, we still have Denzel Ward. We got Jared Verse. And I like our defense as a whole. So, 7-10, I didn't think was crazy. But again, Shedeur's not our starter. I don't know why, but it is what it is. So, again, by the time we get to the Ravens game in week 6, we could be 1-4, maybe 0-5. Who knows? Maybe we'll lose to the Jets in New Jersey like we did last season. Even though I think we're better than the Jets. But when you look at the two teams, I feel like the Jets are better positioned to actually be a decent team. Do I think either the Browns or the Jets are going to make the playoffs? No, but I feel like the Jets are better set up than the Browns are. I have to be honest here.